She said, so good evening everybody, and I hope you're all doing well. Let's start with today's session where we'll be discussing Learn Gita, Live Gita. We were on chapter 5. Yesterday we discussed about actually I was thinking that maybe we can go a little fast, because if we spend too much time over here then things may become when we are so slow, then maybe we may we may discuss too much without progressing in terms of the course. So I'll cut down the discussion short and go a little faster over the content so that you can give the exams also. Maybe let's see if we can finish the course before the college opens. Right? Okay, there's a question from Abhishek Bansal Prabhu. What could be the context when I say, when I can answer, I am spirit soul? When someone asks me, who am I? Okay. What's the context? Yeah, I think yesterday we had a lot of brainstorming, and today we can see some of the Shastric conclusions, that the conclusions of the Shastras, like Bhagavad Gita. So yesterday we discussed that our answer changes in terms of different contexts. So when somebody, let's say in the airport, in the immigration, they ask me whether you are an EU citizen or non-EU citizen, my answer is, when he asks me who you are, then I will say I'm a non-EU citizen. And similarly, when let's say somebody in the restaurant asks me who you are, I will say I'm vegetarian or I'm a vegan. Like many people have different identities in terms of vegetarians or vegans. So they will say I'm vegetarian because that is what the waiter is asking for. Like he wants to know who you are so that he can serve accordingly. Now if you see the questions, all the questions, they are about a relationship. So when a waiter is asking, he's asking in terms of your relationship with the food which you are going to eat. When the person in the immigration center, he's asking this question, that is about your relationship with a particular passport which you are holding, right? So all the questions are in the context of a relationship. That relationship could be with your passport, with your food habits, with your let's say if somebody asks you in IIT, like the DOA office, who you are, then you will say I'm a UG student. That is your relationship with a particular degree which you are enrolled in, right? So now all these relationships and all these contexts are very, very temporary, right? So you are in IIT for only 4 years or maybe 5 years, those who are doing dual degree, and those who are doing PhD maybe a little longer or shorter. But it's very temporary. So that question is also temporary, that context is also temporary, that is why your answer is also temporary. So, but if somebody is seeking what can be that context, or what can be that question or that context where which is eternal, that context which is eternal, that relationship which is eternal, like my relationship with my degree is temporary, with my passport is temporary, with my food habits is temporary, but there is some ontological relationship which is not temporary, which is permanent. So that is the difference of the context. When somebody is asking from that context that who you are actually means, which means the context where your identity is permanent, where the nature of the context of the question is permanent. So then there you can very comfortably say, okay, so first of all, where is that context? So that context is what we should arrive at, that who am I in an eternal sense, in, not just a temporary relationship. So that is, then you will answer, I'm spirit soul. That context is eternal, that question is an eternal, and then your relationship or your answer will be indicating an eternal relationship. So that is when you can say, I'm a spirit soul. Means, I hope you got the point, right? Okay. There are many further details, but I will not go in them because it's too much details, and this course does not require going into those many details. Okay, so let's start reading from here. Let's have prayers first. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshakarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakti Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare. So this so who are you? Okay. So yesterday we were reading that I am not matter, I am not just chemicals, because that kind of question is also temporary. Means the context of a chemist, the ingredients of a chemist, the relationships thereof are all temporary. But then who am I ontologically, which means what is my identity, or what is my relationship, or with what do I have an eternal relationship? So that is the direction where we are heading to. So who you are certainly not your eyes, ears and tongue. You can exist being blind, deaf or dumb. You cannot claim that you are your thoughts, intellect and feelings. These are just your attributes and they change continuously. Chemical origin of life as proposed by modern scientists is an unsolved problem, mere theory with many deficiencies. Right? As we discussed actually much more detail that what are the deficiencies. A mere theory with many deficiencies. That is because even a blade of grass cannot be manufactured in any scientific laboratory, nor any laboratory can transform dry grass to milk as mother cow so expertly does. Okay. So here a very deep point is being made. Now when this sentence is being made, how do you see this sentence in light of yesterday's discussion? So in a scientific laboratory, a person who is working in a scientific laboratory, his ingredients or his elements, what are the elements? H2SO4, HCl, NaCl, sodium hydroxide or hydrogen peroxide, all these chemicals, all these solutions and all these compounds, these are the elements of a person, let's say in a chemistry lab, a person who works in a chemistry lab. So, but are these ingredients sufficient even to make a blade of grass, which is a living, reproducing system, right? So that it is not sufficient. So blade of grass cannot be manufactured from those raw material, right? That is why it is foolish to analyze grass in terms of those chemicals, because those chemicals are not the raw material or with which we can make a blade of grass. Okay. So you have to ask a different kind of question, and also those ingredients are not sufficient. Okay. So similarly, if you want to convert dry grass into milk, so cow can do very expertly, but we cannot do it in our lab. Actually, there has been attempts to convert not just dry grass, but actually everything. Like, so if you go to West, they have got all kinds of milk, because there are some people who call themselves vegan and they do not drink milk because they abstain from any animal product, be it milk or be it leather or be it meat. So they abstain from every animal product, because because in the West there is a lot of violence. Even milking a cow is also so much violent, because the cows are tortured very badly. I mean, they are kept in very small farms and with no proper facilities, and the cows suffer there a lot. And then the milking also is done via machines and with a lot of injections and all those stuff. That is why many people, they become very disgusted with all these atrocities, all this cruelty, and they become vegan. Thankfully, in India, we still have many places where cows are kept very nicely, and India has a culture of respecting cows and treating them like mother and taking care of them like a family member. That culture is reducing very much now, but still we have goshalas who actually have this culture, and still in villages, in many villages, this culture is still there. I have seen in our Kanpur Goshala how nicely they take care of cows, and cows are also very, very happy there. I have seen in Vrindavan also how cows are very nicely taken care of. And I have heard from my friends who have cows or who have lived close to cows, how how they have a relationship with the cow. So, but in the West it is not like that. In the West it is very mechanized dairy farms, and they torture a lot to the cows. So they become vegans, and many people, those who are vegan, they cannot drink milk. So many people, they try, can we make alternatives to milk? So they try almond milk, they try coconut milk, soya milk, oat milk with oats. Oats are also some kind of cereals or grains. They make milk. They try to make milk out of it, and I tell you, it is nowhere natural. It looks. There is also pea milk. I heard pea. Means I have seen pea milk. Pea means peas, butter. So they extract milk out of peas, and so people try different kinds. So that it looks like milk. The texture also somewhat like milk, but the taste, you can clearly tell it is nowhere close to the actual milk. So yes, so we cannot do so. Even with almonds and cashew and oats and soya, we cannot make nice milk. What to speak of dry grass? With dry grass, nobody can even imagine you can extract milk out of it. So, but cows do that. So that's what we discussed in the first chapter. Natural technology we should not ignore. So we are butchering the natural technology, butchering the cows, and we are trying to make so many things in our labs, which is foolish endeavor. Okay. So Prabhupada says, a quote from Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita. There is a lecture on Bhagavad Gita on 23rd May 1966 in New York. Prabhupada says, now there are so many scientists, they are discovering vitamin value from foodstuff. Now what is the vitamin value in the dry grass? Right, the dry grass has no, if you analyze it chemically, it has no vitamins, it has no nutrients. But sir, some may argue that India is the largest exporter of cow meat. Yes, that is the plight of India. That is the sad part, that India, although India is the land of Vedic culture, where cows should be given so much of respect, and cows are given so much respect, but the policy makers, they are so bad, because you see, means if you really talk to the people who take care of cows, they love cows so much, and they cannot, they never want to, they never can imagine that you can send me cow meat, you can export cow meat, but the policy makers are so foolish and so demoniac that they do not value the Vedic culture. They do not value these principles of dharma, principles of mercy, principles of caring for others. They do not value. And this culture, this whole vicious cycle has started from very old time. When Britishers were there, then it started. Because Britishers were cow eaters, and even before that, Muslims, like the Mughal rule or other rulers, they also had cow meat. But Britishers made it much more rampant because they mechanized everything and then they gave it a good status. So even in the Mughal time, people who are eating cows, they are seen as low class. But Britishers, they gave it a very high standard. Okay, if you are drinking wine, you are cool. If you are eating meat, you are cool. So they gave it a very high status, and that was a very bad thing to do. And that's why Indian culture was damaged. So today there are people who are taking care of cows. They have no place where they can take their cows for grazing, at least in cities and suburbs. Of course, in villages, there are still people who take their cows out for grazing. But in cities and in suburbs, there is no such space, and that is why the cows they suffer, and also the people who are having cows, they also what do you say? They also have to spend a lot to take care of cows, because if they can take out the cow for grazing, then so much grass is available and cows can, without spending any money, the cows can get their food. But when they are in the city, there is no place for grazing. Then they have to purchase all the fodder for them and then feed the cows, and that is an extra burden on their pocket, and they are generally not very rich. So that is why they are suffering. So they have to do things which ultimately lead to selling of cows. Like they have to, when they cannot take care of old cows, they have to sell it, right? What will they do? Because they cannot keep feeding the cow all the time, because they have no money to feed the cow. So they sell the cow, and once this cow is sold, then who takes it? Nobody knows. And they generally go for slaughterhouses. So that is very bad. But so on the other hand, if the proper ecosystem is maintained, then you have grazing, pasturing grounds where cows can go and they can graze very nicely. Actually, I saw in UK they have, you see, even in the good cities like Oxford, which is one of the best cities of UK, there are so many pasturing grounds. You cannot believe there are so many pasturing grounds, and you can always see sometimes cows are coming there for grazing, sometimes horses are coming for grazing, like that. So, and then they have taken care of their lands very nicely. They have maintained their pasturing grounds and their nature very nicely. But the thing is that they are cruel, so they torture the cows in other ways. Like they have mechanized everything, and that is very painful. And then they invariably slaughter the cow after some time. But they take out the milk and then slaughter the cow. Means there is no question of not slaughtering the cow. So when ISKCON has a temple in London, in North London. It's called Bhaktivedanta Manor. It's a huge temple, and they have a Goshala. So that was the first Goshala of UK. And when devotees were setting up this Goshala, the government did not give permission. And then they said, no, this is for cow protection. They said, what? What protection? Cow protection? What is that? They said, oh, we will take care of the cows and we will serve them and we will not send them to slaughterhouses. They said, what? Not slaughterhouses? Then what will you do with the cows? So means they have very... so those were the days when the devotees had to fight for a Goshala. That yes, Goshala is a valid concept. So, and UK had never seen a Goshala before, or never seen the concept of cow protection before. But devotees, they started it. And Prabhupada brought it or took it to all the countries of the world. So this is about cows, and you are saying Lioness can make milk out of meat also. Okay, a she lion, she can make milk out of meat also. So every mammal can produce milk, but that is not consumable for humans. Only cow milk is recommended in the Shastras. So cow milk is not just milk, means it is not just milk in the sense of a food. It also has a lot of spiritual value, because the cow milk is used for yagyas in the form of ghee, and cow milk is so good for human development. Prabhupada says cow milk helps to develop finer tissues of the brain, which can help you understand very fine concepts like spirituality. So, this stuff. Am I audible? Hare Krishna. I think my video is fine. So let's see. Yeah. So there is no vitamin value in dry grass. How the cow is producing so much milk, which is full of vitamins A and D? How from dry grass are vitamins coming out? Nowadays, a physician prescribes some artificial vitamins for maintaining your body. Now, what is the vitamin there in the dry grass, so that the cow is eating dry grass and giving you nice milk full of vitamins A and D, essential for your life? So these are all wrong theories, that this contains this vitamin, this contains this, let them go on. But natural food stuff, which is meant for human being, they are full of vitamins already by nature's law, by God's wish. So annat bhavanti bhutani. Okay. So can you summarize this? Can you summarize this? What Prabhupada is saying here? This paragraph. Can you summarize what is the key point which Prabhupada wants to make here in this lecture? Take your time and think about it and write in one sentence what is the message you get from this, in light of the discussion which we had over past since yesterday. So what is the moral, or what is the message of this paragraph in light of what we have been discussing? Maybe if you have some other view also, feel free to share, because these topics are so deep that you can analyze from so many different angles. I have seen from one angle, you may get another dimension and enhance the beauty of this paragraph. Abhishek Bansal Prabhu says, instead of focusing on making theories and experiments, let's respect what God has given us and protect it, them. Yes. Yes, very nice point. So Abhishek Prabhu is mentioning the point from the first chapter where we read that natural technology is already there. So why should we ignore that and instead run after some artificial technology which is very, very limited? So we should give full protection and full respect to the natural technology which is available to us. And because we are sustained by this natural technology only. Anything unnatural we'll do will only invite corona, will only invite diseases. So just like in China, they are doing everything unnatural, eating every entity, every living entity, and that is why we are suffering. On the other hand, if we just stick to what God has prescribed for us, what nature has already given for us, then okay. because ultimately that will only save. We cannot eat chemicals, we cannot eat nuts and bolts. We have to depend on food, and which is provided by cows and provided by nature nicely. Okay, instead of getting stuck in your own logic, we should respect nature. Okay, good. Yes, so I see it as a same point which Abhishek Babu has made, that what is available to us we should not ignore. We should respect nature, and we should not be stuck by our own logic. Yes. As Prof says, God has made all arrangements for us. We need not artificially pursue artificial goals. Rather, we should focus on our real goal. Yeah, this is a very nice dimension, that Krishna has given us all the necessities of life. Food we need, Krishna has provided us, and Krishna is regularly supplying us food in the form of cow milk, in the form of prasad, which means everything, prasad. And Krishna provides us with the fire to cook our food. Krishna provides us with the air to breathe, water to drink. So all the necessities are taken care of. Then why should we become restless for artificial goals? For example, today morning we were looking at the Kanpur sky. So Kanpur had been very clean for past few months, maybe 3 months almost, or 2.5 months. Kanpur was very clean. Said that from our, we live in the 6th floor. From the balcony we can see very far. We could see very far and very clear. Everything was so clear. The whole sky was so clear, and you could see the buildings like crystal clear, as if you are not in India, you are sitting in America. So the same kind of view which I had in America, like so clear view, no haze at all. That was visible from here. But today when my mother took me out and we saw, it was again misty, again foggy, again full of pollution. Actually, that is raw pollution. So much pollution. Now, my mother said, see, we have artificially increased the necessities of life, which are not necessities, but we think they are necessities. Artificially, we have made these necessities, and that is why so much pollution is there, and we are destroying the whole world. I said, yeah, I think we should start, we should stop using all the industry products. And then she said, but what do we use? Then we started kind of analyzing what all industry-made things we are using, like these clothes. So she said, yeah, but there is an alternative. We can use handmade clothes. I said, yeah, that should be done. Okay. And then she said, what else? Maybe electricity. Actually, we are using so many things, but yeah, this was an analysis that how much I am using artificial, how many artificial goals I have made for myself. And I found a lot, a lot of them. So, okay. So the thing is, what Shastru is making the point that God has provided us so many nice things to sustain ourselves. So rather than running after artificial goals, we just focus on our real goal, which is our consciousness, and then we are happy. Anybody else would like to share? There are so many other perspectives with which you can see this paragraph. So please feel free to share your perspectives. Our identity is not these chemicals. This has been thoroughly discussed. Yeah, but we're not discussing identity here. Why are you saying identity? who am I is the topic. Okay. So then, but this paragraph, how is this paragraph related to identity or who am I? We have been so accustomed to accepting theories as truths that I never thought this vitamin theory could be wrong. Yes, that is the big thing. Sir, when Sir was giving lectures earlier, he will always point out this mistake that he will specifically tell for me that I accept so many theories and I cannot think out of them. Like once he asked the question, do you think gravity is real or imaginary, real or false? I said, of course it is real. See, we can see things falling. How can you say it is false? And he said, no, gravitation is just a theory. The observation is that things are falling, but gravity tries to explain that observation and says that there is a gravitational field and things like that. That is just a theory. You can give some other theory. Instead of saying gravitational field, you can say space-time warp, right? Einstein said there is no gravitational force. There is only space-time curve, space-time curvature. There is no need of any gravitational force. So then this means that we accept these theories because from childhood only we are trained to accept them as truth. We have got so much faith in them. Means our whole thinking is so much jeopardized by those theories that we cannot think outside of these theories. It is like the only tool which we have got to see the world or to analyze the world are these theories. And we never think that there can be something beyond that because these are the only tools which we are using to probe into everything. Yeah, so yes. So a very important thing to understand is that theory is different from observation. Observations which we are making directly through our senses, that is okay. That is something we are experiencing and that is true. But the theories, they come later and they are just to explain the observations, and you can have multiple theories, infinite number of theories to explain the same explanation. The theories are always prone to mistakes. Prabhu says, we may never be able to understand the arrangement Krishna has made for us. So be humble and grateful. Nice point that we will never be able to understand the... Okay, so how cow is giving milk? This we may not understand, but we just be humble that, okay, I do not understand how cow is converting the grass into milk. So, and be grateful to Krishna, that Krishna has made this arrangement for us. Very nice point. Anybody else? So, Archit Prabhu, would you like to clarify your point? You made a very pertinent point. That's why I'm specifically pointing you that who am I and identity, how are they related to this description? So why has Sir put it here in this chapter of, or in this section of who am I? There must be some reason for that, right? So you almost got the idea which I had in my mind. Of course, these are other beautiful dimensions which other devotees are telling, which I had not thought about. But since you have raised something pertinent, please clarify. Nobody is saying anything. Okay. So since it is getting late, so I will just tell my understanding of this paragraph. So see, somebody has written something. It was a fluke. No, it was a very intelligent. You had some insight. Maybe you're not able to express it. Maybe I can try to express something and then you can tell if it makes sense. So we have been discussing, so what is the whole mistake which we have been doing in the past? So we are asking wrong questions. So why wrong questions? So basically in science, what is the meaning of asking questions? It is in science the meaning of asking questions is we have measuring devices or we have our detectors. So let us say if you have a scale, that is the detector for length. If I have a thermometer, it's the detector for what we call temperature. If we have a spring mass system, it is a measure of force, right? We use it for weighing things. It's a detector for force. So what can it output? It can only output the position of the spring. That is it, because that is what the detector can only output the position of the spring, and we know this is correlated with the weight of the object. So basically, asking questions in science means making measurements. So when asking questions means making measurements with those devices or detectors. So now my detector is the context who is asking the question, and the measurement is the answer. So now let's say grass. No, take the example of milk. So now to milk we are asking a question. Who is asking the question? A detector which gives some reading corresponding to vitamin A or D. So this detector is asking the question, who you are, and the answer is saying, oh, I am vitamin A, I am vitamin D. Right? Because that is the only answer which this detector can get, because this detector is asking a question, do you have vitamin A, do you have vitamin D, and that is the question it is asking, and the answer which it can get is either yes or no. Now the milk has to answer something, so milk answers yes for the case of A, and if you ask vitamin C, milk will answer no. But that does not mean the milk is vitamin A or D. Okay, this is one thing, that milk, this detector is detecting only vitamins A and D, and it is asking questions to milk. But our body, when this milk comes in contact with our body, I mean when it goes inside our body, it does something to our body. So what does it do? It gives nourishment, it gives strength, and so many good it does to our body. So our body is not the same detector as that of the vitamin detector, right? My body is a different kind of detector. So when milk comes in, comes in contact with the body, a different outcome is there. But when the milk comes in contact with that detector, some other outcome is there. And it is foolish to say that detector is absolute and my body is not absolute. My body is just something else. But that detector is absolute, which means I'm saying milk has vitamins A and D. Right? And then I say grass does not have vitamin A and D, because that same detector, when it goes to the grass, it asks the question, grass will say no, no, no. So then this conservation of these entities does not hold, right? Conservation does not hold. Conservation means grass. So what is the law of conservation? Let's say law of conservation of mass. If here we have 10 kgs, we put it in something else, there it will gain 10 kgs because mass is conserved. So, but these vitamins are not conserved. So it is foolish to make an assessment in this way, because somebody can say cow, so milk and grass, vitamin A should be there in both. So which means if whether I drink milk or I eat grass, it should nourish my body in the same way. No, that does not make sense, right? Are you getting the point? These detectors, they are asking different questions, and this milk can only answer to that question which is being asked. And our body is not the same as that vitamin detector. So it is foolish to assume that these vitamins are anything meaningful. Right? So how that detector, how some particular food item behaves with this detector is, it means it ontologically is independent of how that food item behaves with me, right? So there might be some correlations here and there, but we cannot take it as an absolute correlation. No, whenever it says yes to vitamin A, then it must do good to my body, because my body is also of the same nature as detector. No, that is not true. That is foolish. So, okay, so that is why this point is being made here in this section. Who am I? That I am not the same detector as that vitamin detector. I am different. My body is not just that chemicals. Therefore, this vitamin theory has no pertinence in this case. So Abhishek Bansal is asking, so the best detector is our body, and we should make theories and based on our experiences. uh, yes. See what kind of question we want to ask. So we are here looking at foods. So what is the food doing? Food is doing something to our body. Food is giving us nourishment, our strength, good health, and immunity and everything. So the food is giving to our body. So in this context, yes, the best detector is the body only. So yeah, therefore we make our theories based on our experiences. Yeah, so that is why this theory of this understanding of detectors and information is very powerful. It's very general. It works for human beings. It also works for dead entities like chemicals and molecules. So it is quite universal. So because this comes from Bhagavad Gita, comes from Bhagavatam, this theory of detectors. That is why we say we have 5 elements: earth, water, air, fire, ether. Earth, water, air, fire, ether. 5 elements. So why 5 elements? Because this is the kind of, I won't go into detail of that, but the thing is that I think we made sufficient progress in terms of this important paragraph. In essence, we need to first understand the distinction between living matter and dead matter before we can ascertain what we are. So why now? So this chemical detector, vitamin A detector, is a dead matter, but we are living matter. There is a difference clearly. Two detectors are different. So then we can ascertain what we are. Okay, I think we can stop here. Thank you very much. And if you have any questions, you can ask now or maybe tomorrow. Why do we say that the vitamin theory is useless? It's not like we don't know where the vitamin is coming from. It's not the grass, but it's coming from the cow, right? No, cow is okay. Then again, it won't hold, because how cow is getting it? Cow is drinking milk. Cow is drinking water and eating dry grass. So how the cow is getting vitamins? Okay, it also means grass is a very low source of. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So how cow will get vitamins? So the point is this is the point. An external vitamin detector, it is finding something, but our body need not respond in the same way. That is the point which I am trying to make here. Okay, let me clarify it further. For example, you have many food items. So out of 10 food items, 3 food items say yes to this detector. Right? So can you say all these 3 are good for your body? The detector is, let's say, vitamin A detector or whatever you call it. So out of 10 food items, 3 food items behave in the same way to this detector. They say yes, yes, yes. Everybody else says no. Now, does that mean all these 3 items will have same effect on my body, that they will all be good for my body in the same way? Maybe there can be some correlation, but we cannot say this is the absolute theory, because this theory is based on lots of assumptions, not same effect. That is why it is said that vitamin theory is not good. Vitamin theory is not useful. Okay. So the harm of vitamin theory is that, for example, now you have milk and your detector says yes, yes, yes. Means milk says yes to the detector. Now let's say you have some very abominable object. Let's say food, meat. Meat may also say yes, yes, yes to the vitamin detector. But does that mean milk and meat are same? Milk and meat are same because both are saying same yes to the detector. No, they are not same. We can drink milk after offering to Krishna, but we cannot eat meat. We cannot offer it to Krishna also. Right? So that is why vitamin theory is useless. And you know, this vitamin theory has inspired maximum people to eat non-vegetarian food. People eat non-vegetarian food and you ask them, why do you eat non-vegetarian food? They will say, it has got a lot of vitamins, proteins and whatnot. So many things. That is why Prabhupada is saying this vitamin theory is useless. Because this vitamin theory actually has made so many people from vegetarian to non-vegetarian. Yeah. They say, oh, if you will not eat meat, where will you get proteins from? Where will you get this thing from? Like there is a, I think K12 or something, B12 or K2, something I forgot. Something is there, which is there in the meat. It is not there in other food items mostly. Oh, actually it is there in the animal products. So milk also has it. This B12 or something. So people they say, oh, if you don't eat meat, you cannot survive because you won't get that. And there is a lot of debate if you see vegans and non-vegetarian people they debate on these points. So this vitamin theory is actually very harmful. Yeah, but so Chatru is saying they are same if we only care about the effects of vitamin on ourselves. But no, that is not the goal. The scientists are completely misleading them when they are saying you must eat meat because otherwise your body will not get vitamin whatever B12. So they are evangelizing that you must eat meat because otherwise you will not be healthy. But whereas the reality is okay, there is some stupid detector to which milk says yes and meat also says yes, and based on that they have made the huge theory that you must eat meat. So that is why, so this is very subtle cheating going on, very subtle, but it's very bad cheating going on. Okay, I think we can stop here. I hope you will read it carefully, and if you have questions you can ask tomorrow. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.